What's up, everybody? Benji Bruce here with SpeakingLifestyle.com, and we got to talk about the insane power of charisma. I want to talk about this because when you are charismatic, it's like you can move mountains. You can change the world, as they say. And it's like you have an unusual hold over people, an unusual sense of power over people when you have this natural charisma. Well, not natural. I don't think anything's really natural, but especially something like charisma. I think it's learned over time, whether people do it accidentally or purposefully. But when you are charismatic, it's like you can damn near move mountains. You can do damn near everything. And so with charisma, it's like you have the power to get people to act. You have the power to get people to move, to do something, because it's not enough just to say, hey, everybody, let's do this and that and whatever. But charismatic people have the power to actually get people to do things. And that's why you want to truly develop your charisma in general. It can be used to build, something like what entrepreneurs do a lot, or it can be used to destroy, like what authoritarians and dictators do. So charisma, to me, I think of charisma like money, to where it's not good or bad. It's just a matter of who's using it. If someone like an authoritarian is using it, a politician is using it because deep down they're thinking, well, I'm going to take over, man. I'm going to take over. If they're thinking that, then what's going to happen is probably going to happen. And so whereas an entrepreneur, if they're thinking along the lines of, oh, I'm going to build something great, then, hey, it's more likely to happen. So it doesn't really matter. Well, it's not about whether charisma is good or bad. It's just a matter of who's using it, because whoever's using it, that's the person who's probably going to go a far way, especially if they're using it like a politician, where they're not only being charismatic, but they're being deceptive at the same time. Then it's really dangerous, because when they're being deceptive at the same time, well, now you don't know. Now they're just flat out telling you lies. They're just lying about stuff, and they're being charismatic about the lies, saying, hey, we're going to do this for everybody. We're going to do that for everybody. Oh, everybody's going to love it. Oh, blah, blah, whatever they say. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's freaking Mussolini. And that's what happens. That's how they all take over, because they're insanely charismatic. Then boom, it's too late once people see the real person. So it's like, it's neither good nor bad. It's just a matter of how you're using it. But you truly have to understand how charisma works. You have to truly focus on charisma if you are trying to build something. If you're trying to build your business, trying to build a brand, whatever, you got to really focus on charisma. And it's not about being loud or extroverted. I think a lot of people seem to think that charisma is about being loud and extroverted and everything. I mean, I'm not extroverted in any way. I know people think that when they see my videos and stuff, but I'm not extroverted in any way. If you ever see me in person, I'll just be like, what's up? Cool. And that's it. And so, but with charisma, people seem to think it's about being extroverted. It's not about that. Charisma is about the influence that you have over a group of people. That's all charisma is. So think about charisma as your influence over other people, the power over other people. That's what charisma really is. Now, charisma, the charismatic person, if you want to essentially increase your charisma, you have to feel powerful. Like, charisma comes from a sense of feeling powerful. That's what has to happen inside of your head. And when I say powerful, I just mean like you have to feel that you can alter the world around you. You can change the world around you. No matter what it is, you're broke, whatever it is, you can change the world around you. And that's how you have to think when it comes to charisma. If you do that, if you truly feel charismatic, you will naturally communicate charisma to other people. And that's really what you're doing with charisma. I've studied charisma a lot, and it's not even just feeling powerful. A lot of people who like take it to a whole new level, like Steve Jobs or something, is not just about feeling powerful. It's almost like they feel like they're almost on a mission from God himself or herself. It's like they feel like they're on a mission from God, something greater, something bigger. And that's where the true charisma comes from, the insane level of charisma. And when that happens, they feel a sense of power, like, look, it's not just me that wants this. I mean, I'm like a vessel of God. And that's kind of what happens. And that's how they get like insanely charismatic to it. It's that feeling. And then it transfers to other people. And so you want to think of charisma as like different types of charismas. There's essentially one-to-one charisma and one-to-many charisma. One-to-one charisma is, all right, the person who's really good at talking to people. They're really good at persuading people. They're really good at making people feel good. And it's like, Even if you all of a sudden you hate the person, then all of a sudden you talk to them you talk to them one to one. Next thing you know, you like them again. You're like, what? How did that just happen? And those people are charismatic one to one. And then you have charisma one to many, people who are good like with video or people who are good on stage and stuff like that. So you want to think of charisma as like different things. It's not just a person is charismatic just 24/7. It's like they could be charismatic one to one and not one to many, or they can be charismatic one to many and not one to one, or they can be both. And that's how you really want to think about it. But charisma, what happens with charisma is charisma gives people this sense of enthusiasm. Is that energy, that power. And once again, like if I feel powerful, like I'm trying to be charismatic and I feel powerful, it's naturally gonna translate to other people. Like other people are gonna feel that sense of enthusiasm. And so that's what you're doing. It's like you're giving people confidence in moving forward. It's not just, hey, let's think intellectually about something. It's about you give people this sense of enthusiasm. And when they have this sense of enthusiasm, they're like, let's go, let's get it, come on. It's like this rally cry that they have, let's take on the world. And that's kind of what happens, to where it's like, it's really just a take on the world feeling. And if you look at CEOs, like certain CEOs, Steve Jobs and stuff like that, you'll see what I'm talking about. And once again, good or bad, it just depends on the person using it. Something like WeWork. So WeWork, the CEO, everyone said the dude was insanely charismatic. That's how he was able to do what he did, because all he did, he took a very basic concept in real estate, just subletting. That's what he did. And then he turned it into this big business purely based on his charisma. That's how he did it. It was purely based on his charisma. And everybody who worked for him and all that sort of stuff, everybody who invested in him, they all said like, oh, we felt like it was being part of something greater. Like it wasn't just, oh, real estate. It was like something greater, something bigger. And that's how everybody described it in terms of how they worked with them. Then all this stuff happened. And the same thing with the Theranos. So the Theranos, the thing where she claimed that a simple little prick, and they could do all the stuff with your blood. They could figure out all these diseases and stuff just with a little tiny prick with your blood. And she was just flat out lying. Like the whole thing was a lie. And she took all this money from investors and everything. And the same thing happened with her, to where people would say like her one-on-one charisma, when she would talk with people, once again, they felt like something bigger was going on. Like, hey, we're going to accomplish something great. Like, oh my goodness, it's not just this little blood thing. Oh my goodness, we're going to be able to cure all diseases eventually. Like, oh, we'll be able to know what disease a person has just based on one little pinprick. And oh my goodness, we'll be able to do this and that. And so she talked in this sort of way. And then everybody felt like they were being part of something bigger, something greater. She gave them that sense of that enthusiasm. And so that's kind of what it is. And it's basically, it's all about how you feel. If you feel insanely charismatic, insanely powerful, then it will naturally translate. And that's why, like, people who are charismatic, they feel prophetic. Is that how you say it? Prophetic. Yeah, so they feel like that. They feel like they're on a mission. Like, hey, I'm on a mission to do this thing, like something big. And it's like, what I tell people is you want to feel what you want to have felt. And so when you're charismatic and you want other people to feel enthusiastic, you have to be enthusiastic. And that's how it really works when it comes to charisma. So you want to think of charisma, there's different types of charismas. And so I think of like the gift of gab, that's the extroverts. Those are the extroverted charisma people. These are the great talkers, the people who talk the talk. They're great talkers. And in these people, at first, I thought to myself, like, people who talk the talk, I don't really know. I mean, they tend to lie a lot. You know, that's why I thought, I was like, yeah, they tend to lie a lot, and they have no other skill. They're just extrovert. They can talk. That's all they can do. But then I thought about it, and I was like, well, technically, that is a skill in terms of building a team, building and managing a team. Because sure, maybe they can't do something, but if they're great at talking to people, they're just great talkers, they can build a team of people who can do that thing. They can manage those people, and boom, they'll get big things done. So it's like a colleague of Steve Jobs. He says something like, what does Steve even do? The guy can't even code. And like he said that about Steve Jobs. He's like, what does Steve actually do? He can't even code. And so he was thinking of Steve Jobs like he's just a talk the talk kind of guy. That's all he is. And that's how that colleague saw him. But what people don't think of is, oh, these guys are really good at building teams and they're really good at getting people to feel like they're on a mission. So there's the gift of gab type of charisma, and then there's the competent charisma. This is honestly, to me, this is the best type of charisma, the competent type of charisma, because nobody can say a damn thing about you. Like, this is someone like Elon Musk, to where Elon Musk, it's like they think big and they act big. It's not just talk the talk. They walk the walk. Like Elon Musk, the dude is a rocket scientist. Like, he didn't just build a rocket company. He's like, look, I'm going to study the hell out of this thing. I'm going to know more about this thing than all these other guys who went to school for it. That's literally what he did. He became so competent in it that that competence translated into charisma. And so even like, let's say in sports, someone like Michael Jordan. Okay, Michael Jordan, he's just like a walk the walk type of guy, to where he's just like, okay, let me just go play the game. Let me go whoop everybody. So it was that competent type of charisma. So people follow these types of people because they're very competent in what they do and they have the big mission. So it's like best of both worlds. And so that's kind of what it is, where these people, where their sense of power comes from. Then there's what I call just the crowd charisma. The crowd charisma, it's where the leader, the leader, the charismatic person, they're not like insanely charismatic, or like you look at them, you just say like, oh, I don't really see anything special about them. Like, like these are people where you can't really see anything special, but they kind of just have a hold on people anyways. And the crowd charisma, it really just comes from the leader just kind of being very aware of the audience. It comes from the audience, not really the leader. It just, the leader themselves, they figure out like the fears, the hopes, and the secret motivations of people, the secret thoughts of people, and they talk about those things. So the audience is almost, they're almost persuading themselves just because they listen to what this leader says, in terms of whether they're talking about fears, they're talking about hopes, they're talking about the secret thoughts that people have. The leader is talking about these things, and then people, they attribute all this charisma to that person, and then naturally they feel enthusiastic, like, hey, we got to actually do something. And so these, I just call them crowd charisma, because it's not really the leader. It's just the leader is just very aware of, okay, what are the problems that people are going through? Let me talk about those things. Okay, let me talk about a little bit of hope. Okay, cool, boom. And then natural charisma happens just based on the crowd itself. So it's like, a lot of times they talk about like suffering, conflict, or enthusiasm. So they tend to talk about those sort of things. But you want to think of charisma as something that can be learned. Like, even if you're insanely introverted and you think, well, there's people who are really good talkers, that's just not me, whatever. You don't want to think that way. You want to think of charisma as being something that can be learned, something that you should learn, and something that you need to learn. Because the more charismatic you are, the easier it is to build a business, to get a great team, because once again, everyone feels like, hey, you're on a mission and everything. So everything becomes easier when you're charismatic. You get more attention to your business, you sell more. You have to understand that, well, you have to just assume that everything can be learned. No matter what it is, everything can be learned. Just think of it like this. You don't know what's impossible, so you just want to assume everything is possible. That's how you want to think about everything. You don't know what's impossible, so just think everything is possible. So you don't know that whether or not charisma can or can't be learned. Like, it's not impossible, so you're just like, well, it's possible. All right, I'm going to learn the damn thing. That's how you really want to think about charisma. So you have to learn to be charismatic if you truly want to like grow your business, you truly want to do things. So what you want to do is you just want to focus on the effect that you have on people. That's what you really want to do when it comes to charisma. Like, focus on the enthusiasm, focus on the effect that you have on people. Focus not only on the effect that you have on people, but the effect that you're having on yourself. Do you feel powerful? Do you feel like you're on a mission from God himself, the universe? Do you say like, look, I am where I am for a reason. Like, there's something about me that can actually make this thing bigger, that can actually grow. Like, do you feel prophetic? Do you feel like powerful? Because if you don't, then you can't do that with other people. Like, you won't be able to create that enthusiasm with other people. So the more charismatic you are, the easier life is going to be. Your business, it can literally grow just by being purely charismatic. As the WeWork guy demonstrated, it can grow just based purely on charisma. So make sure that you understand charisma, you learn charisma, focus on the enthusiasm, focus on the power that you have, that you feel inside of you. Make sure you communicate that, and just understand that's where charisma comes from. But you got to understand the insane power of charisma. Be charismatic. Learn to be charismatic.